I want to say at least it's here, but why did it take so long to put Dark Aether into Warzone? It could be, sure, a development issue or a coding issue, but it took almost 5.5 seasons. Well, it really did take 5.5 seasons to be integrated fully into Warzone. And DM Ultra took, I think, what, 1 or 2 seasons to be put into Warzone. And I get Cold War and Modern Warfare Warzone are obviously running off of different engines, so it's not as simple as copy and paste. And you do have to do a little bit of coding and mapping with the 3D textures and all of that stuff, but it took a lot longer than it normally should have. And not only Dark Aether has been added to Warzone, but Demolition, Zoo, and a new zombies option to make zombies hard right from the start. I don't remember what it's called. Long story short, you're basically on round 1, you activate this thing that makes the map harder, and it's like you're already on round 20 on round 1, so you can just speed up the pace that you play the map, which are all incredible things that have been added into the game, and it's about time. Some of them have been more on the docket list of things to be added longer than others, and sure, things are brand new like the Zoo multiplayer map. But the thing that really bugs me is how this is almost the standard for Call of Duty and just the gaming industry in general. There is so much stuff and so much content that comes out later throughout seasons and games rather than just launching full with the game. Imagine how much fun it would be if Warzone launched, well, the Cold War integration at least anyways, launched with DM Ultra and Dark Aether camos, and you can just apply them to the guns right away. Perfect, right? You have stuff to grind towards in Cold War now if you're a huge Warzone player and are looking for a reason to play Cold War. I watched Prestige's Keys video on this last night, and he mentioned, well, it's cool that they've added it, but it's kind of a little too late because we're 2 months away from the launch of Vanguard, and now we just released a new camo into Warzone, and that doesn't give a lot of people time to play Cold War and grind that camo. Sure, they might not be hardcore camo grinders like a lot of people that watch my videos are, and the people that have kind of followed the camo guides, but there's still people out there that would like to grind Dark Aether. But the thing is there's only 2 months till Vanguard, and if you can only buy one game, Cold War or Vanguard, what are you most likely to buy? Cold War, that only has 2 months left of its life cycle, or Vanguard, which is going to be at the very start of a brand new Call of Duty experience. And it's just like standard business, right? Like if you want a lot of people to buy the game that are playing a free-to-play game, you want as much content from that paid content game in the free-to-play version, so that if the people really enjoy what's in the free-to-play, they buy the full one. Example, Dark Aether and DM Ultra in Cold War. People really like the camos in Warzone, they'll buy Cold War and grind it out. And that seems weird for a lot of people, but there's a lot of people that have literally bought Cold War just to grind mastery camos for Warzone because they're huge Warzone players and they want to flex that mastery camo because Warzone is their game. And it seems so stupid because A, it's Activision and Activision likes money, and B, this is like a thing that they're doing to actively not make money and deter players away. There has been so many players that I know of that have stopped playing Warzone basically until they added Dark Aether. Like they were just waiting for Dark Aether to be brought into the game and then they were going to play it. Business wise, that means that Activision is going to miss out on those players no longer playing Warzone on buying bundles. Even if they're not a person that normally buys bundles, they could buy the Battle Pass and the Seasons Pass for whatever, it's like $10. And that's still money that they're going to be missing out on because people aren't just playing the game because something as simple as a camo isn't added. And the thing is that's not just the only issue with camos. Look at Modern Warfare and Cold War. Every season brings new content. Well, air quotes new content. A lot of it's remastered content and guns brought back from previous CODs, but we'll put the air quotes on new content. Every season should be bringing lots of fun new content. Look at the beginning of every season. There is constantly every season new stuff brought into the game that brings hype, but there's also a double-edged sword. A lot of that content tends to be remade from older games or just not original content, which sucks because that means people are going to be playing the same maps over and over again, which in some cases is very good. Look at Cold War. A lot of the Black Ops 2 maps that they've introduced into Cold War have performed really well and are fan favorites and are loved by even the new players that are brand new to the Call of Duty franchise. But for veterans ends, it sucks having to almost pay to play the same thing over. And I know that DLC is now free in Call of Duty, but you're still paying for the full game. So in one extent or the other, when you pay for the normal game, you're also paying for the DLC in the future. So technically, you're paying for the same thing over and over again, but they like to rebrand it as free DLC, right? And with Demolition and this new zombies difficulty multiplier being added so late into the game, imagine how much more fun people would have playing zombies if this was added at the beginning of the game. Sure, you need great things to be added later on in later seasons to bring back players and to keep it interesting, because if you have everything at the start of the game, you will eventually run your players dry of new things to experience. But the thing is it's almost seems like these things should be at the launch of the game. Sure, add crazy new game modes down in the future. Demolition, I'll let that one slide because there's a lot of other game modes that launched with Cold War, and Cold War has done a pretty good job with introducing a bunch of new game modes later on in the life cycle. So game modes in general for Cold War, I'm gonna let slide because they've pretty much covered their bases, not only at game launch, but come DLC seasons as well. However, this zombies difficulty multiplier should be something that just launched with the game. It launched with Black Ops 4, so it seems weird that they're launching it later in the Cold War season. Sure, add Outbreak later on as a DLC. Add DLC maps later on. That's all you need for zombies. But basic things like this should be introduced at the beginning of the game, and it would increase the player count. Because honestly, if this zombies multiplier, or like the difficulty multiplier thing, if this was there at the start of the game, I would have enjoyed zombies a lot more, not only with the camel grinding, but I would genuinely want to literally just play zombies and just run around on round one and have a hectic experience right off the bat. I don't like the whole setting up thing over and over again, because setting up in Cold War is pretty slow to get to high rounds. It's slower than most CODs. Of course, there's lack of gobblegums like Black Ops 3 and lack of elixirs like Black Ops 4 to help you get set up early. But even in like Black Ops 2, there's so many ways to get set up so fast, and I just find it's a little slow with Cold War, but to each their own, right? But a lot of these things just are added late seasons, and I'm conflicted because I understand you need things to be interesting later on. You can't milk the entire cow dry, but I feel like the standard of launch content has decreased over the few years that Call of Duty has had free DLC. But imagine how good games would be if we had the amount, like, I'm not talking maps and DLC weapons because those obviously are season specific things, but imagine if Cold War launched with the amount of game modes and the amount of options that it has now, as well as during the seasons saw the same amount of content added later on. It would make the Call of Duty experience so much better. Sure, it would be difficult coming out with modes and new things in later seasons, but if you could have the initial launch of the game have that much content that there is now in Cold War, imagine the positive feedback that the community would have, and imagine how many more players would actually be playing the game, would have enjoyed the game from the start, and would want to come back because there is so much to experience. And on top of that, every single season from there on out adds more maps, more DLC weapons, more game modes, more events, more things to do, and more battle passes to grind. It just would be so much better. Sure, COVID put a wrench in the system where it was, hey, the world's kind of falling apart right now. Obviously, developing a video game isn't the most important thing. The governments have said their part. Things are getting political now, not so much game development, just the world is just taking a step back, and it's kind of crazy right now. So obviously, I think the development of Modern Warfare and Cold War kind of halted around early 2020, but things are getting slowly back on their feet. So that's why I'm excited for Vanguard, is because I hope they can learn, or even just have the development time to improve upon Modern Warfare and Cold War and have that content and that high amount of it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Leave a like if you guys did enjoy, dislike if you didn't, there's no hard feelings. Subscribe for more videos in the future. If you guys are on Gamer Subs and want to help support me, use code WILD. It also gets you guys a discount as well. I've been loving the product and I've been drinking it every day for like months now, so you guys will enjoy it too. And I am allowed to say this now, if caffeine's something you guys aren't into, or your body doesn't react to it, Gamersubs is working on a caffeine-free line that is going to be launching within the next couple of weeks. There is not a set date yet, but I'm finally allowed to let you guys know about that. Anyway, I'm about to head out, and if there is one, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.